The HOA thought that I would back down and let them destroy my ranch, but they had no idea what I was planning. So when they started destroying my land, I hit them right where it hurt the most. You won't believe what I did to get back at them. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. My name is Name. I grew up in a big city and always dreamed of having my own ranch one day. When I finally had enough money saved up, I went out to look for the perfect piece of land. And that's when I found this beautiful 200-acre property. It was love at first sight. The rolling hills, the lush vegetation, the sparkling pond. It was all so peaceful and serene. I couldn't wait to call this place home. But there was one small problem. It turned out that the property was located in a homeowners association, which meant that I would have to follow a bunch of rules and regulations that they set. Now, usually I don't have a problem following rules, but these guys were a different breed. They were like a cult. They had so many rules that covered every little detail of your life, from the color of your house to the type of grass you had to mow. I knew that this was going to be a pain in the butt, but I really wanted that property, so I didn't think much of it. And I purchased the ranch. One day, I was relaxing by the pond on my property, when suddenly, I heard the sound of heavy machinery. I got up and walked over to the fence line to see what was happening, and that's when I saw them. They were building a pipeline that ran right through my backyard. I couldn't believe it. I looked over at the construction site and saw a group of workers unloading large pipes from a truck. As I watched, they began assembling the pipes in a straight line, forming a long, narrow tube that looked like a metallic snake. At that moment, I felt a surge of anger and betrayal. I had no idea that this project was even being planned, let alone approved. The pipeline was not only unsightly, but it also disrupted the natural flow of the land. It ruined the scenic view I had of the open field, and it made me feel like my privacy was invaded. But the worst part was that I had no say in the matter. I mean, how could they just barge onto my property and start digging without asking me first? What kind of message did that send? That my land meant nothing to them? That my opinion didn't matter? It was like they treated me like I was just another number in their database, like I was just another person to tick off on their to-do list. They didn't see me as a human being with feelings and emotions. And trust me, when I tell you that it was infuriating. I immediately called the HOA president and demanded an explanation. He told me that the pipeline was necessary to improve the water quality in the neighborhood and that they had the right to install it on my property. Since they owned all the land in the HOA, I was furious. This was my land. I paid for it with my hard-earned money, and I should have been the one deciding what happens to it. But now they just waltzed onto my property and did whatever they wanted. It felt like a violation of my rights and my dignity. It was like they thought that because they had more power than me, they could just do whatever they wanted and get away with it. Well, they were wrong. I wasn't going to let them bulldoze over me and my property. I wasn't about to just accept their decision and eat the cost. No, I was going to fight back, and I was going to win. So I did what any reasonable person would do in this situation. I went online and did some research. I wanted to know everything about this pipeline, how it worked, where it led to, and who controlled it. And guess what I found out? The pipeline led to the HOA clubhouse, where they used it to water their fancy lawn and fill up their swimming pool. They were using my property as a free water source. How dare they? I was outraged. Not only were they violating my rights and my privacy, but they were also stealing from me. They were using my water without my permission or compensation. It was like a slap in the face. It was like they thought I was too stupid or too weak to notice what they were doing, but they were wrong. I was onto them, and I was ready to take action. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I just call the cops or sue the HOA? They had the legal right to install the pipeline on my property. Because of the HOA rules, they followed all the procedures and got all the permits and approvals. They literally did everything by the book, so suing them would be a waste of time and money. I wasn't going to go down that route. I was going to do something smarter, something more effective. After thinking long and hard, I came up with a brilliant plan. A plan that would make them regret the day they ever crossed me. I was going to buy the source. Yes, you heard me right. I was going to buy the source of the pipeline and turn off their supply. I was going to become the pipeline guy. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. This was the only way I could fight back. And I wasn't just going to sit back and watch them destroy my property. No, I was going to take control of the situation and make them pay for it. And let me tell you, it was epic. It took some time to track down the source of the pipeline. It was like a treasure hunt. I had to follow the pipes underground and search for clues. But eventually I found it. There was a small valve hidden under a bush near the road. It was inconspicuous and barely visible, but I knew it was there. And when I turned it off, the flow stopped. No more water flowed through the pipeline. I felt like I had just struck gold. I couldn't believe that I had actually done it. I had outsmarted the HOA. I had taken away their power over me. And it felt so good. Now, you might be wondering what happened next. Did the HOA call the cops? Did they threaten me? Did they try to bribe me? Well, the answer is no. They didn't do any of that. They didn't even realize that I had turned off the pipeline. I mean, they were so smug and self-righteous that they didn't even think I could fight back. They thought I was just a nobody who would cave in and give up. But they were wrong. I was not only a somebody, but I was also a force to be reckoned with. As the days passed, the HOA members started to notice that something was wrong. Their fancy lawns turned brown and their swimming pool drained. They tried to figure out what was happening and they couldn't find the answer. They were scratching their heads and pulling their hair out. But they didn't suspect me. They didn't think I had anything to do with it. And that's how I liked it. I was enjoying my victory. I was basking in the glory of knowing that I had stood up for myself and my property. Then one day I heard some commotion near the pipeline. I went over to the fence line to see what was going on. And that's when I saw them. The HOA workers were digging up the pipeline. They were trying to repair it. I couldn't believe it. They were actually admitting that I had caused the damage. It was like a dream come true. I mean, how often do you get to see the enemy squirm? It was hilarious. From that day on, the HOA never messed with me again. They left me alone and respected my property. They realized that they couldn't push me around and that I was not someone to mess with. I was the pipeline guy. I was the water wizard. I was the master of flow. And they feared me. And I liked it. I liked being feared. I liked being respected. I liked being in control. I didn't have to put up with their nonsense anymore. I didn't have to listen to their demands anymore. I was free. So if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, remember my story. Stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone walk all over you. And always remember that the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, actually, in my case, the valve was mightier than the sword. Anyway, thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever turned the tables on someone who tried to screw you over, leave a comment below and tell us about it. We'd love to hear your stories. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content. Until next time.